If the ref thinks Farag can return the ball, it's a stroke; if not, it's a no-let. The decision no-let is probably correct. Asal's shot is very good and I don't think Farag could return it, but the problem is that we will never know. Asal's tactic of blocking direct access is cheating. The rule clearly says that you must make every effort to provide unobstructed direct access, but he blatantly stands in the way repeatedly. Cheating just means breaking the rules to get an advantage, so this is cheating.
1. Asal has to adjust his swing because of the presence of Farag, who is crowding. Imagine him trying to go cross-court. And this shows that Asal is thinking about safety at that point. 2. All of Asal's weight is on his front right foot. He pulls it right back next to his left foot. There is nowhere else that he could have put it before Farag comes crashing into him. 3. Asal plays a winner, which Mr. Coward admits, and he is wrong about always having to make every effort to clear. When you play a winner, you don't have to make any effort to clear, and therefore it is not cheating. And for Mr. Coward to say that it is cheating when it is not is clearly defamatory. Just to be clear, not moving after playing a winner is always a dangerous thing to do, and you can get penalized with a stroke if the referee doesn't think it's a winner. But it is not cheating. It is simply a risk that all players take regularly. Finally, the direct line is one of my bear bugs with modern pros. A direct line means one single straight line to the ball. And if you have to deviate from that one straight line, then clearly you are not taking the direct line. Players are forever trying to get from the tee to the side wall to play the ball. And then, when they find they can't, they then turn and go down the wall to play it. Now that's fine, as long as that movement does not initiate contact with the other player, if that player was in front of the rear service box line. If he does, it's a no-let for taking an indirect line. To put it simply, if you cannot play the ball at point X and then initiate contact while trying to do so with any player in the service box area, then it's a no-let for taking the indirect line, where the direct line was behind the opponent, next to his left. Oh, and as always, for Mr. Coward, he compares two positions that are totally different. Asal at all times is in front of the rear service box line, which generally gives him permission to hold the tee. However, Farag is a yard behind the service line, steps forward and then steps back, which is a totally different scenario. You shouldn't compare pears with apples.
Farag can definitely return this ball.
Mr. Coward once again showing that he hasn't any idea what he's doing. 2 seconds ago, he stated that Farag could definitely not get this ball and that it was a no-let.
Well, when Asal's playing the way he is,
Yeah.
Yes, let.
Where's the line?
I'm not sure, that's why it's a yes, let.
First of all, I don't know why the ref says that she doesn't know where the line is. The line is obviously straight through Asal. Next, how can she give a let here? It's impossible to give a let ball according to the rules. Once again, Asal not clearing at all and obstructing direct access means that Rule 8.6.6 cannot be applied. Asal made no effort at all to clear. This is a no-let or stroke decision, nothing else can be given here. Farag can easily make a good return, so this is an obvious stroke. Sadly, this represents most modern-day refereeing, where we see a clear bias in favor of the player who blocked direct access. In simple terms, Farag can hit any shot he wants, took the direct line to the ball, and only got a let.
Firstly, a good, honest call by the ref, stating clearly that she was unsure as to where the line was, and therefore she cannot call it either way and has to give a let. Excellent call in principle. Secondly, look at Farag's initial movement. He was worried about the ball going cross-court, and as a result is fractionally late, off balance, and hasn't got his feet right for any movement to his right, and consequently is falling over before he makes contact with Assal. I doubt very much that he could have played that ball standing up. Thirdly, Assal does make every effort to clear. What does Mr. Coward think all that movement by Assal was? It's a massive movement, and that is Assal clearing. However, it is possible to clear incorrectly, but the point is that Mr. Coward is calling this cheating. If you clear incorrectly, you generally have a stroke given against you, and that's the end of it. It's all part of the game, and in no way is it called cheating. As Assal is well behind the service box rear line, he should allow an opponent to come round the front of him, which is probably what he was expecting. But for once, Farag, for reasons I gave above, is not in a position to do that, and is floundering into Assal's back with a basic indication that he was trying to go behind. So we have two players trying to do two different things to achieve access to the ball. Assal has moved in such a way as to give access by the front, and Farag, in an off-balanced way, has vaguely tried to go behind. This is just a traffic issue, with neither player deliberately doing anything wrong. Finally, in my opinion, due to Farag being late, off balance, and falling over, I would declare that ball a winner, and a no-let would have been my decision. Reasonably happy with the let, as called by the referee with good reasons, and I call out Mr. Coward for being totally incorrect in his analysis, and as always 100% bias and ignorant to the real technicalities involved.
Again, just the way he's taking this is really going. This is the right tactic. It's going for Farag.
Okay, play review Farag on the no-let decision.
I don't. Well, he's getting some responses from the crowd. That looks natural to me, Joey.
So the no-let's gone in.
Decision upheld. Farag has no reviews remaining.
It's interesting to hear the crowd booing the movement. Also, this is the most stupid commentary I have ever heard. I have no idea why the commentator is talking about natural movement. The rules don't care at all about natural movement. First of all, Assal makes absolutely no effort to clear unobstructed direct access again. Farag has a perfect position and split steps as the ball comes off the front wall, good movement. The issue is that Farag cannot go to the ball because Assal is blocking the line. Given the problem with only receiving no-lets and let balls, Farag decides to try and go all the way around Assal instead of asking the referee straight away. So, instead of pushing off his left leg and moving into Assal, Farag takes a step forwards and split steps again, ruining his movement and then trying to go to the ball. Farag thinks he will probably get a no-let here, so tries to take an indirect line as this is his only chance at winning the point. Had Farag taken this line and moved directly, it's another no-let or stroke situation, but in the context of modern refereeing, it's actually a no-let or let decision, as I have already discussed extensively. In terms of the line Farag actually takes, the no-let decision is correct. The contact itself is minimal and Farag would not have made a good return even without the contact with Asal's hand. By trying to avoid the contact, Farag ruined his own movement and then panicked by asking for a let too late. This is what happens when referees don't award obvious strokes and consistently favor the player who is blocking the line. We are now rewarding blocking and penalizing the player who tries to avoid the block.
Once again, Mr. Coward having a go at the commentator, who quite clearly knows a hell of a lot more about the game than he does. The use of the word natural in describing a movement is used to differentiate from an unnatural movement, which means a deliberate movement, which carries a conduct stroke immediately and without question. Therefore, it is very important for referees to differentiate between the two. And Mr. Coward obviously has no idea what he's talking about. Once again, we have the indirect line and the clear winner. Basically the same situation as the first video. I don't think I've ever seen such a clear winner, which is why Asal was clearly upset. And the crowd, by the way, they were not booing Asal, they were booing the referee for giving a let. Asal is given a volley well in front of the rear cervix box line and hammers it to the back of the court. Unless Farag can demonstrate 100% that he could have played it at point X, which he obviously could not have, then it's absolutely a no-let for taking the wrong. Again, Mr. Coward completely contradicts himself by saying that Farag took the wrong line and couldn't have got the ball back, and it was a no-let. So why is he going on about it? In real time, this is obviously a clear winner. It's important to review in real time, as slow motion affects one's perception.
Yes, let.
But look,
You don't.
Obviously Asal doesn't clear and we know what that means. The counter-argument for this being a let instead of a stroke must be due to Farag's movement. The rules are implicit about this. The rules say that Farag should have unobstructed direct access by the time the ball rebounds off the front wall. The rules are phrased like that so that someone doesn't immediately run into the striker and ask for a stroke. The idea is that between the time it takes for the striker to hit the ball and then for the ball to hit the front wall, they have had time to clear. We can infer that if Farag initiates contact during this time, then interference is his fault, not Asal's fault, as it means Farag stopped Asal from having a chance to clear. So, the question is who causes the interference and when does it happen? At this point, Farag is moving away from Asal as Asal hits the ball. When the ball comes off the front wall, Farag split steps as Asal moves into him. From the rules, Farag has done nothing wrong at all and Asal has moved into him after the ball has hit the front wall. Farag can obviously return it, so this should have been a stroke. Farag has no reviews left so could not review it.
It is clear to me that Farag is quite obviously crowding Asal. He is nowhere near the tee. He is actually in front of Asal's rear leg. This means that Asal has absolutely no chance to clear. Should a player benefit from giving another player no chance to clear? And it is generally accepted that they should not. So a combination of crowding plus a clear winner, the no-let decision is perfectly correct. But basically, if you look at the picture, it is clear that Farag is crowding. And on that basis alone, with a conduct warning possibly for crowding, it's a no-let.
Yeah, literally like stuck in the mud, like
Yeah.
a scarecrow.
No let.
Farag has a perfect position and split steps. The line to the ball is directly through Asal again because he doesn't clear. Farag hesitates as he decides which line to take. This does not matter. Rule 8.8.3 explicitly states that if Farag recovered, and could have physically hit the ball to the front wall without interference, then it is a let or stroke situation. At the time Farag gets hip-checked by Asal, Asal is still in the line to the ball, so this is Asal's fault. Asal's shot is bad, it's a heavy drop shot that ends up mid-court and is not tight to the wall. Farag would have easily got to the ball without the interference. The referee doesn't explain the decision, but logically it's either that the interference was minimal or that Farag played the ball. This interference made the difference between Farag hitting the ball and not getting there in time, so it definitely was not due to minimal interference, as this interference made the difference. The referee must have decided that Farag played the ball so cannot receive a let. This is really harsh. In a split second, Farag has to figure out what line to take, get bumped off balance, and then determine whether he can ask for a let or is better off just hitting the ball.
Once again, Mr. Coward, in this clip, shows his complete lack of understanding of the game. At one point he claims that Farag lifted his arm prior to attempting to play the ball to claim the let. But as you can see, that is completely and absolutely false. He also claims that Farag is in a perfect position. He is not. He is in a terrible position, having just given Asal a simple volley from inside the service box, and he stood right behind him and then moves the wrong way, moving actually into the way where Asal is trying to clear. Hence the obstruction caused by Farag going the wrong way. And this is where Mr. Coward gets the interpretation of the going the wrong way rule completely and absolutely wrong. He admits that Farag has gone the wrong way, and then that Asal has got in his way. The rule is quite clear that once a player has gone the wrong way, his opponent cannot be blamed for failing to clear, as he cannot second guess his opponent's movements once they've gone the wrong way. To be clear, he cannot be given a stroke for the reason of failing to clear, which Mr. Coward wishes to in this instance. You can be given a stroke against you for other reasons, particularly if you hit a bad ball back to yourself. Finally, Mr. Coward admits that the referee has given the no-let because Farag attempted to play it. It's the rule, and there is no going back whatsoever. And Farag clearly accepts that and walks away. But Mr. Coward is trying to make excuses for trying to play the ball. The first things we ever learn playing squash. Make your mind up early, and if you try and play the ball, you will not get a let under any circumstances.
To show you how Asal's blocking ruins Farag's movement, watch these two clips. Do not focus on the clearing, only focus on the quality of movement to the ball. We can't compare the clearing as the striker is in slightly different positions in both clips. But the movement to the ball demonstrates what I am talking about. Asal gets to move in a smooth curve to the ball, using direct access provided to get there early, balanced and ready to play. Meanwhile, Farag has to move in an L shape again, split step twice, stop his momentum, and then go again and arrive to the ball late and at the wrong angle. Asal's blocking takes away Farag's speed to the ball and ruins his balance, forcing weak shots and winning points with no-let decisions.
Once again, Mr. Coward attempts to compare apples and pears. He moronically says, for these clips, don't compare the clearing movements as they are coming from different positions. What he completely fails to understand is that it is precisely those clearing positions that affects the incoming player. So he compares Farag, who is a metre behind the service box, being able to give an easy clearance for Assal, which he can, of course, due to that deep position. However, he has Assal a yard further forward trying to clear, and as a result, Farag necessarily has less space, and there's nothing that Assal can do about that. So the difference between the two incoming players has everything to do with the initial clearing positions, which Mr. Coward told us to ignore. What a moron, once again.